I started doing workshops and doing groups where I'm getting up in front of others, like outside of the gym setting, and talking about resilience and perseverance and goal setting and vision and taking action.
You should know what 1 hour of your time is worth. You should know the value that you bring to the marketplace. You know what your passion is.
Starts with clarity of vision. If you don't have the clarity of vision, whatever next thing you get, you're not going to see it through because you don't have the clarity of vision. So the point of my pain was being told you will never run or jump again. And all that stuff, I was like, you know what? Like, I want to be able to take this even bigger.
If you know why you do what you do, you have to know how to charge for what you do. That's how you're going to change your life, and that's how you're going to leave a legacy for your children and your family. You got to know your worth.
There we go. Okay, sorry. Great things happen when you go live, always. But anyways, this is Rob, and I'm back with episode number 371 of Shut Up and Grind. We're all about overcoming obstacles, defying the odds, and helping you clear whatever's blocking the path to whatever success you want in this lifetime. See, so what happened there was I had my headset connected to my phone still, so when the intro was going through, it messed everything up. So that's what threw me off there. So anyone who saw that's what happened. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the comeback starts when the chaos stops leading. So what I get from that title is, those of you who watch this show on the regular, you know that I constantly say, if you're on fire, you can't see the fire. So basically, you're just consumed by the things that are causing your struggles, that are causing your emotional distress, and that's what you focus on. And I see my guest backstage nodding in agreement, right? So, but once you can take that focus and put it onto what you want, that's when the comeback can begin. So let's bring my guest on now. This is Phil Barth, and we're going to get his take on this subject. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic, Robert. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So again, I apologize for the reschedule yesterday, but I'm glad we were able to do it, the very next day. So thank you for being flexible. All right. So where are you joining me from?
I am joining you from Southwestern Ohio.
Southwest Ohio. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you originally from there?
I am originally from the northern part of the state. So
okay.
I've spent more than half my life down here in the Southwest.
Okay. What brought you down there?
Work. My first job was in Hamilton, Ohio, which is northwest of Cincinnati. And after that, I met a lady down here. We got married, and we've been down here ever since. Raised a family, and just love the area.
Love it. Does your shirt say "I was normal"?
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah. See,
awesome.
I was normal till I got my first rubber chicken.
Oh God. Yeah, we're gonna dive into that a little later. It's like I really don't dig too far into my guest background because I want everything to unfold naturally. But I saw your picture with the chicken. I was like, I have to know a little bit about that.
Absolutely.
But like I said, we'll cross that bridge in a bit. So first, how would you describe yourself at your core?
At my core, I love people and I want to help them. And that drives a lot of the actions I take. I don't know that I was born that way, but I think as I've grown up and grown older, I realize that helping people achieve their dreams is how you make the world a better place.
Great answer. Great answer. Like I do this. I host another podcast. I'm a speaker. And I manage a gym, like I'm sitting in the gym now. Like there's a lot of things I do, and people always say, like, how do you juggle all of that? I was like, because people depend on me. Like in everything that I do, it's to better the lives of other people. So when you're in that space, it doesn't feel like work. So what is your take on that?
I agree with you 100%. I'm a keynote speaker, an author, and I love what I do. And I love the fact that I get to go to really great places around the world and speak. But I think what I love more than that is connecting with the people afterwards. and having people. I had somebody come up to me at an event last year in Vancouver, and she said, I saw your event in Albuquerque the year before, and you made a difference in my life. I decided I was going to go for my big, bold, brilliant idea, and I did it, and I accomplished it, and thank you so much. And that just warmed my heart.
Yes. So I was actually a guest on a show 2 days ago, and the guest asked me, like, was there a moment where you knew that you were called to do this? And in 2016, I was an opening speaker on day 2 of the Fit Ranks World Conference in Las Vegas. And after my presentation, it was titled "Becoming Who You Were Meant to Be." And after it, these three people, a couple and one of their brothers, came up to me just in tears, like in tears. And we had some much bigger name speakers there that weekend too. I was just scratching the surface, but that's when you realize it's not about your fame; it's about your message. You know, if your message hits the right person, that's what makes this all worthwhile. And people who are like afraid of public speaking, it's just because you don't have your message dialed in. You know, so how did you get into the world of speaking?
So I volunteered to speak at a conference a little over 20 years ago, and they picked up my symposium session. It was out in San Diego. So I did it, and it was a bomb. It was terrible. And I wasn't afraid of public speaking. I just should have been. And, people were leaving the audience, and we could get into the reasons why it was such a bomb, but it was a bomb. Let's just leave it at that. And so I decided, well, maybe I need to study how this works and actually learn how to speak, because I do like getting up on stage and talking to people. That started a process where I went through Toastmasters. And about 10 years after that, I went to the finals of the World Championship of Public Speaking. So they start with 20,000 speakers, and I was in the final 9. And so, along that journey, I realized I could do this. And then a little while later, somebody said, would you come and speak and we'll pay you? And I thought, you mean what I love to do for free? You'll actually give me money? And so, right? So I kind of grew into that. And that core message of, overcoming your fears, negativities, and self-doubt. I call it frying your chickens. That was in the speech that got me to the finals. And so I kept delivering that. And over time kind of grew it to a point where I retired from my IT job, and my full-time business is speaking and talking to people and writing books about it.
That's great. That's great. So the premise of this show is about overcoming obstacles. So let's go back to that moment where you bombed, because a lot of people, that would have broke them. So how did you get through it, and what did you learn from it?
What I learned from it was I wasn't as good as I thought I was. That's one thing. The other thing was the opening speaker at the conference was Tom Peters. And I followed him, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you're not as good as Tom Peters. And I was apologizing for things that I said that were different from what Tom Peters said. And so that was the bomb. But the one thing Tom Peters said was, if you are having problems with your communication and you want to grow your network, you need to join Toastmasters. And that was my takeaway. I went home, went onto the website, found a Toastmasters club, and joined it, because I knew I needed to get better skills. I had 2 choices, right? I could shut up, or I could grow my skills, and shutting up was not an option.
Love it. Yeah. So similar, I went to, are you familiar with Eric Thomas?
Name sounds familiar. Tell me about it.
Okay, yeah. So he's up there. Like, he's one of those six figure per event speakers. He's one of those. Mm-hmm. So like, I went through his speaker training program, and so I was down in Atlanta. There were 41 people, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just go in there and just put on a show. I'm just gonna put on a clinic. And so we only had 10 minutes to speak. So as far as speaking, I felt like I did better than everyone else there. So the next day, driving back, because I flew into Boston, and I'm down here in Rhode Island. So I'm driving back home, and the CEO of Eric Thomas's company calls me, and he's like, hey, thanks for coming down and all that. And then he fast forward, he says, you were far and away the most polished speaker at the event. I was like, okay, all right, like, that's what I was going for. But then he hit me with the truth bomb, and he said, but you're my most frustrating type of student. I was like, okay, I'm all ears. Like, I'm listening. But he said, because I tried to put on a show, he said you put in too much information. He's like he's like your delivery was spot on. He said, the people were engaged. He's like, but you didn't move anybody. He's like, if you want to command $20,000 per speech, you have to invoke emotion. And that one phone call completely changed the way I deliver all of my talks. So you said joining Toastmasters was your biggest takeaway, but what were a couple other takeaways from that moment?
Okay, and what you said is so good. The too polished, because I started competing in Toastmasters speech contests, and every time I practiced, my wife said, you're going away from your normal conversational style and you're becoming speech man and speaker man. And I'm not hearing you. And I'm telling you, Robert, it took me years to get beyond that. But I've done some events this year, and the lady came up to me afterwards and she said, we've had other speakers in here and they're just so polished, but they don't make a point and they don't make an impact. You were genuine and you made an impact. And I'd like to tell you I figured out how to do it. I think I just eventually stumbled into it. I got comfortable enough on stage that I realized I don't need to put on a show. I'm going to have rubber chickens and things like that to make people laugh, but it's just going to be my natural style, and people connect with that. And the other thing that you mentioned, I was so guilty of. It's like, I can speak a little faster and get one more point in there. And I had a speaker coach that said, when you crowd the information in, you crowd your audience out.
Yes.
So I've learned to hone it down to the point.
Yes, and believe it or not, right, we're both speakers, but one of our most powerful assets is silence. Like, I've learned when you put those pauses in, like when I talk about breaking my knee and being told I'd never run a jump again, I'd be like, I was running to the high jump bar and I planted. And then that pause, everyone's like, and then what? Right? It's like they lean right in on it. So I found slowing down, putting in those pauses, it definitely keeps the audience hooked. My sister has a comment here. Yes, it has to be conversational and informative. Yes, absolutely. That's and key. You can throw in the entertainment too. They call it what do they call it? Edutainment.
Edutainment. Right? Yes.
Yeah. All right. So explain the chicken thing. How did you get into that?
So ignore the phone in the background, please. The first speech, the one that took me to the finals, was called Fry Your Chickens. And at the time, I didn't have rubber chickens. I just kind of walked around like chickens saying, it was the story of asking the woman I'm now married to out for the first date. And all the chickens going, oh, you can't do it. She's out of your league. And people related so much to that. And I'm just talking and acting out what's going on in my head. And eventually I stumble through and ask her for a date. And she says yes. And so there's the moment. And so that one took me all the way to the finals. It was out on YouTube and so on. And eventually someone brought me in for our corporate headquarters. And I didn't realize at the meeting that I was in that they were going to do this, but they played my speech and then brought me up and gave me a rubber chicken as an award. And I was like, well, that's really cool. And then I bought a few more and I started using them instead of dancing around, and people really connected to the rubber chickens. And then I realized on Amazon, you can get these little, and I don't have any right here with me, but you can get these little like 3-inch high rubber chickens and give them out to people and toss them to the audience. And then people love it. And it's got a QR code on it. It's my business card. I give you a little rubber chicken. QR code takes you right to my website. And people have told me, I throw away a lot of business cards, but I still have yours on my desk.
I love it. There's this guy who runs an obstacle race in New York called Gabe Capobianchi. He was actually on the show a couple months ago, but he does something similar with chickens. We do an event in Massachusetts called the New England OCR Expo, and he had a booth this year, and he was actually dressed up as a chicken, and he had this little game where you got to jump from chicken to chicken without touching the floor. Like his table had the most engagement. Oh, it was a blast.
That's awesome. I love that.
Oh man. Let's see. My sister.
Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
my sister's got another comment. My first speaking gig was at a small business expo that changed the trajectory of my business. Yeah, absolutely. It's like I'm starting to steer what I do now into helping business leaders and business owners promote their business through speaking, because it's one of the most powerful things you can do. I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this. Monique, I'm sure you can too. That when you talk to someone about their business and they talk for like 10 minutes and you still don't know what they do.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. So, like, what would be your elevator pitch, your one sentence pitch?
So I'm on a plane and somebody asks me what I do. I save companies money by lowering stress. Boom.
Yeah,
boom.
And then,
well, how do you
straight to
do
the
that?
point.
It's not, I'm a keynote speaker. The troop turned you off, right? I save money.
Yep.
People are like, ooh, I like money. I'd like to save money by lowering stress.
Yep.
If they ask me the next question, it's the studies I've looked at say the minimum amount that stress is costing companies is $1,900 per employee per year in terms of lost productivity, medical expenses, and so on. So if you've got 1,000 employees, that's almost $2 million you're being cost because of stress.
Wow.
And I had a guy on the plane recently. He said, what do you do? I said, I lower stress. I'm a keynote speaker. The keynote speaker came later. I said, what do you do? He goes, I cause stress. And so we started laughing. Right? I said, that's the best answer I've ever heard. And at the end of the flight, he said, well, you know what? Maybe some of these people I'm stressing out need help from you. Do you have a business card? And so what do? I reach into my backpack and pull out a rubber chicken. And he's like, that is awesome.
It really is. I have to come up with something like that. That's a genius idea. Absolutely genius. All right. So
they're cheap on Amazon. It's like a little over you get about 35 cents a piece. I buy them in bulk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great too, because it stands out. I mean, I have stacks of business cards, but I can't tell you the last time I looked at them. But to have something like that, tangible, like people will have keychains, people will have like bottle openers, things of that nature. I have all of those, just because again, it's a usable item.
Yep.
And so now, because I watched a part of one of your intros where you were coming out and you were throwing, and the crowd was going nuts, right? So how do you feed off of that initial energy?
That's what I love to do. Is I start there and then I just get up there and so they're already up here, so I can come out up there and I will start with a story. It depends on what we're talking. Sometimes I have them introduce me as an international best sort of selling author. And so people are like, what the heck does that mean? And so I said, now the first thing you're probably wondering is, what is an international best sort of selling author? I said, it's like this. My first book was called Great Things Happen Every Day. We put it out on Amazon and it was a free Kindle download for the first 5 days. And in those 5 days, it went to number 1 on the chart for stress management Kindle books that were free. Okay. And so people are starting to laugh. I go, I don't want to brag, but I blew the other 3 out of the water in that category. And so now everybody's laughing. I'm not coming in there going, oh, I'm a best-selling author. Rah, rah, rah. People realize I'm going to be human and we're going to have fun with it. And then we go from there. And then I just start talking. But I hit my goal because I'm helping people lower stress. And it's like this. And I go into the first story and we learn things. And then you always involve the audience. It's like, okay, best answer gets a rubber chicken. Anybody who answers gets a rubber chicken. And they will do amazing answers for a rubber chicken.
That's awesome. It's as humans, it's like we're so fickle sometimes. It's like it's the littlest thing. Like I do obstacle races, and I've done 14-mile, 18-mile, 30-mile, and it's like your body's hurting, you're cramping, you're like, I want that medal. It's like I'm put myself through hell for that medal.
A t-shirt, a medal, you name it. Yeah, I actually go to people in the back of the room because I come in from the back, as you probably saw in the video. And I say, okay, look, when I come out, I'm going to be tossing rubber chickens. Please stand up and catch them and don't act like you're under fire. Because as soon as a couple people, everybody's like, oh my gosh, he's throwing rubber chickens. I want one. And so you're tossing them up in the air and people are going crazy for rubber chickens.
Yeah. Yeah, see, and there's a whole psychology with it too. So I spoke at an event at a local university here. It was for high school juniors and seniors. It was health sciences. It was like a health science expo. So like the Cancer Society was there, the American Heart Association was there. I'm a kidney donor, so I was there with New England Donor Services. So it was well, the Cancer Society went first, and not knocking cancer, I'm knocking the people who were talking. Right, the people who were talking were awful. It was so boring. Like the kids weren't paying attention. They're on their phones. They're talking to each other. So then we go, and our program director went first. Now, to her defense, she had to give stats, but she still could have made the stats a little more fun. Right. So again, the kids were like really not in tune. So I said to our director, I was like, watch this. Right. And so I go up there and I said, who here has ever dreamt of being a superhero? Right. And then all the hands go up. They all go, I was like, who did you want to be? Who did you want to be? And I kept them locked, and over half of them signed up to be an organ donor. And this is,
awesome.
16, 17, and 18-year-olds. But yeah, to your point, it's like you got to capture them right away, especially dealing with kids, because kids will drift in a minute. So do you use that same entrance, or do you vary it?
If I have spoken before, I'm going to vary it. If I've spoken before at that particular conference, I have to vary it. You only get that once. But if it really doesn't seem to matter the age of the audience. Everybody loves rubber chickens. I spoke at a bunch of teachers to kick off the school year. They love the rubber chickens. Project management professionals love rubber chickens. Spoke in Europe at different events. Everybody loves rubber chickens. So if it's the first time I've been at your event, we're going to open with the rubber chickens, heavy metal music while I'm tossing out the rubber chickens. I think you saw that. My sons are heavy metal musicians, and so I had him do two of them. My oldest son, one of them is the William Tell Overture, or the Lone Ranger theme, whatever you want to call it. The other is the chicken dance. So in the middle, after I get everybody to agree that one of the keys to life is stepping out of your comfort zone, I then say, good, let's all stand up. We're going to do the heavy metal chicken dance. Best dancer wins a book. And they go crazy for it.
That's so true. I love it. All right, so let's get to the title here. So the comeback starts when the chaos stops leading. Right. So what are some of your best practices for helping people to even realize that they're in chaos? Because some people don't even realize that they're a train wreck.
Yeah. So that's the story of my heart attack. Right. I had a heart attack when I was in my early 50s, and I didn't realize that they become gladiators. I love that. I didn't realize that how much stress I was under. So I had a heart attack. They fixed me up, and the doctor afterwards said, you need to manage your stress. And I thought about it. I was in okay shape, not great shape, but okay shape. I didn't smoke. I didn't have a family history, and yet I had a heart attack. And I was fortunate in that the arteries that were blocked weren't like the widowmaker, which tends to kill and make your wife a widow, right? So I was fortunate in that. And what I realized was I was going to have to change the way I approached life and lower my stress. And I would like to tell you that I got out of the hospital the next day and ta-da, I started lowering stress. That absolutely was not the case. I had I was a why baby. Why me? Why did this happen to me? I see somebody smoking in there. They don't have a heart attack. Why me? And the answer is it doesn't matter. You had a heart attack. You have to change your behavior. So by the start of the year, when I went back to work, I worked for 3 months, and then I had promised my wife that I would take a week off every 3 months. So we took a staycation, and we went to the zoo the first day. And at the end of the day, I got on social media and said, here were the great things that happened today. And everybody gave it likes. Well, likes on social media. Woohoo! Right. So the next day it was the art museum. Same deal. So here's the great things that happened. And I thought to myself, I wonder how long I could keep finding great things that are happening in life. And it's been about 10 years. and you just keep
Nice.
finding them. So I had to train my brain, right, to shut down all of the stressors, to shut down all of the negativity, all of the sarcasm, that sort of thing, and look for what was positive in life. And once I did that, that's where the comeback started. And
Yes.
then the next step is I got to tell people about this. This is really powerful. I want people to get the benefits of a heart attack without having clogged arteries.
That's a great spin. That's a very, very great spin.
If they didn't hurt, I'd be like Oprah, you get a heart attack and you get a heart attack. But it's like, here's what I learned. If you can see yourself right here, look at the benefits of just looking for what's good in life and making a few simple changes.
And don't be afraid to be different. Like I hear all the time, well, that's what everyone does. Well, that's what everyone does. Okay, but that doesn't mean that's what you have to do. Right? It's like you have to set your own boundaries and you have to decide what you no longer will tolerate. Like I have my own very firm boundaries. Like if someone asks me to do something, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going. Like it sounds like it could be mean or selfish or whatever, but it's like I got one shot at this life. I'm 51 now. You know what I mean? So it's like I want to do the things that I want to do, and for a lot of people, that's very, very hard to do. So they end up doing things that they don't want to do constantly, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. Next thing you know, they've lost their identity.
Yep. And I had some of that. I love a quote by Gary Vee. Somebody asked him, say something that'll motivate me. And he said, you're going to die. It's a limited time you're on the planet. You are going to die. So do you really want to do this particular task and give up some of your precious time? We can always get more money. We can't get more time. So that is the most important thing. I love hearing you say, you got to say no. Do you want to do this?
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not valuable. I'm saying I can't do it. And say no right away, because if you say, well, let me see if I can fit that in. Well, maybe. And then all you're doing is one of two things. Either you're prolonging them saying, well, Phil might do that for me, so their timeline gets longer, or you're going to fit it in. You're going to do a half-assed job and nobody's going to be happy. So I'm a big believer in what you said. Say no to the things that you need to say no to.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, Monique said, to the point, laughing my butt off. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been there myself plenty of times. Just like where I really started forming my boundaries was when I went through the kidney donation process with my sister. Like that was where I really felt my mortality, and from that moment on, I was just like, you know what? I'm scheduling my life. And then if other things come in, if I'm available, I will be there for you. If I am not available, I cannot be there for you, outside of, a funeral. But that's still that boundary that I set, and that works for me. For other people, like they're just people pleasers, and I'm sure you've worked with people pleasers. So how do you get people out of that mindset?
I mean, I was one. I had to have a heart attack to get out of it.
Yeah.
I think that quote, you are going to die. If I'm lucky, I got about 30 years left on the planet, and all I need to do is think about our oldest son is 30. And from birth to 30 went like that. I mean, just boom.
Yeah.
That time is going to fly. So I really need to focus on what's going to make a difference in, helping people and not doing things that aren't going to matter.
Yes, absolutely. So what is when you hear the word clarity, what does that mean to you?
Clarity means I know exactly what okay. Here's my definition. Clarity means I know exactly what the next step I need to take on the journey is. I am exactly clear on when I need to do it, what I need to do, how I need to do it, and so on. But I make it the next step, right? If I'm going to sit down right now today and I'm going to write a book, I don't know every single step. And it's silly to say, until I'm clear on the whole thing, I'm not going to write the book, because you'll never write the book. I mean, I spent years with that mindset going, well, I got to, if I'm going to leave Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm going to go to California, I don't need to know where I'm having lunch in Oklahoma. I need to get on the road and go west. And that's the
Yes.
next step. And if I see a sign that says welcome to West Virginia, I know I went the wrong way, turn around. But you take action and you're very clear on what the next step is that will get you closer to the goal. Because when you get there, then the fog's going to lift and you can get clear on the next step. So that's part one. Part two is it's down in my office on my whiteboard, my mission. And it is to make people laugh, to help people lower their stress, to live a life with my loved ones, and to give the credit to God.
Awesome.
It's on my phone.
Awesome.
My phone's great. Just right. Turn it on. There it is. Laughter to It was laughter to millions. Lower the stress. Live life to the fullest. All glory to God. Every time I pick up my phone, there's my message.
Absolutely. I interviewed someone. Well, we just had like a dialogue. We just went live on a bunch of different platforms, and we just did a live. Like, it wasn't a formal podcast, but we were talking about, I always say for most people, when you're stuck, the answer is right in front of you. Like, it's right there. It's waving at you. It's trying desperately to get your attention, but you don't see it. And so I asked her this question, because she's looking to like get on podcasts and all that stuff. I said, if you wanted to get on 10 podcasts, what would you do? And she started saying, I would Google this, and I would go here, and I would go here, and I would go there. And none of her answers were wrong. I said, your first answer should have been, ask me.
There you go.
Right? Like, ask me. I have about 50 podcast friends that I can connect you with. Right? I said, you just went to all these other places and you're talking to the person. I can probably get you booked by the end of the day.
Exactly. You don't need Google. You got one. You go to the source of the expertise right there. Boom.
Exactly. Oh, God, that's great. All right, how much time we have? Oh, we have plenty of time. All right, so tell me about another time in your life where you got a big breakthrough, something that you struggled with, and it led you down to a different path.
Okay, besides the heart attack.
Besides the heart attack.
I think the other big breakthrough was a speaker friend of mine. This was before I was really doing a lot of keynote speaking. Said, hey, I've got this virtual assistant who can help you find possible speaking opportunities. And would you like her contact information? I said, absolutely. So I hired her to find me. I said, find me. I know project management, business analysis, and IT, and I know how to deal with stress and goals. So find me some conferences that are looking for speakers. So she gave me a spreadsheet. And one of them, I said, wow, this is 2022 that I'm early 2022 or late 2021. I said, that conference I attended, that very conference back in 10, 15 years ago. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out a call for speakers and see what happens, because I think it'd really be cool to be one of those speakers that I saw back then.
Yes.
And I filled it out and I got an email and said, hey, Phil, congratulations. You're going to be speaking on our stage symposium. No money, but you're going to do that. So I went to the conference. It was in Boston, and I spoke, and the lady who's running the conference came in, and my opening that day was, I had to apologize to everybody in the room because 2 days earlier I had been at the Cleveland Guardians New York Yankees playoff game, and I had lost my voice because the Guardians came back.
Oh, no.
And I said, I'm sorry, my voice is still a little hoarse. Now, I'm in Boston. Are you from Boston or close to?
I'm in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. So you know the Boston mentality for fan. I said,
yes.
But you're going to have to forgive me. I lost my voice rooting against the New York Yankees.
Oh, they erupted.
Everybody in the room applauded. The lady smiled, and we were off to the races. Okay, so what happened from there? How did that become a breakthrough? She talked to me afterwards and said, I do other conferences. Would you like to do keynotes? And from that one event, some of hers and customers who were at hers from others, it's over 40 distinct keynote symposiums and workshops I got, the children and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, 40 and counting.
Yep.
So it was a breakthrough in that I went ahead and applied. And it was a breakthrough that despite the fact I ignored my wife's advice to not lose my voice at a baseball game, I had a comeback. Here's why. and turned it into a joke against the New York Yankees, which they did beat the Yankees that night. And
Yeah.
and everybody was on board, and that one led to more. And each time I had to make sure I was on top of the story, making it better, and it worked. And that's been the biggest success story so far in the speaking business. I mean, if I could get 40 events for every one I started, I'd run out of days in the year, wouldn't I? That'd be good, though.
You certainly would.
I mean,
Oh,
some of
man.
them were virtual too, so it just
Yeah.
some of them I just walked into the office, did the session, and I like that. Honestly, I like getting out with people better, and I like hanging out in places like Boston, like Orlando, and so on. But sometimes it's just good too to walk downstairs, get to know people, speak, and then come back upstairs and play with the dogs.
Yeah, it's about showing up too. So even though you lost your voice, you still showed up as you and brought that energy. Like I was on a virtual summit a couple months ago, and so I had the pre-call with the organizer, and she says, and we expect you to dress in professional attire, right? And so I said, whose profession are we going by? I said because you like that one, because I said in my profession, right? It's like in my profession, I can wear a tank top. And said, so that's why I wear a tank top. This is me. Like I would never wear a shirt and a tie into this gym, right? It's like that's, and ironically, the summit was about authenticity. I said, so you're trying to ask me to show up in an unauthentic way, right? So she's like, okay, you can come as you wish. So like if you don't question things, then you're just going to become another fish in the sea.
I had a speaker that asked me, so you do all this stuff with rubber chickens and humor. He said, what if a potential customer or potential client doesn't want that? What if they don't want the humor and the rubber chickens? I said, then they're not my client. They need to find the speaker that will match them. If they want somebody all buttoned up in a suit and tie, I mean, I wear a dress shirt and dress jeans, but if you want like all that, stand behind the podium and shirt and tie, that's not going to be me. I'm not going to be comfortable. Yeah. Your audience is not going to like it. So let's just say it won't work, and we'll both go our separate ways and I'll find a client that works for me. You'll find a speaker that works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's nothing wrong with turning down events. Like I had an opportunity to speak at a career and technical school. And so I'm going back and forth with the principal, and she's like, so what can you talk about? So we can talk to the students about confidence. We can talk about bullying. We can talk about self-worth. I said, and I can teach them how to make money with the smartphones. Right. And she goes, oh, no. We don't want them to to learn about entrepreneurship. She's like we have programs in the school for that, right? Wait, it gets better. So then I said, shouldn't the kids know all of their options? It's like, isn't that what we're supposed to do as the adults, is let the next generation know what the options are? And she says, well, it's our expectation for the students to enter the workforce or to get further education. I was like, how is that your decision to make?
Yeah.
It's like, they should know. Like if someone, I'll use my son as an example. He went to an automotive school. I was like, shouldn't he know that he can film himself working on cars and upload it to YouTube or TikTok or something? Right? Like in this day and age, like you can have multiple streams of income easily. So needless to say, I turned down that gig because I was like, if I can't give them all the options, then you're not getting me as a speaker.
No, I agree. Yeah. I had somebody once that wanted me to come in. They said, we want you to talk about how to lower stress. All of our employees have to work 60 hours a week and they're stressed. I'm like, you're not going to like the first suggestion I have. I think I know what they're having problems with work-life, family-life balance. It's like, no kidding. Yep. You got them 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, or whatever it is. Yeah, that makes balance real tough. So it didn't work, and I was happy to walk away from that one.
Yeah, I mean, my God, like the fact that they would even be looking for that is like, I mean, I'm a pretty solid speaker. You're a pretty solid speaker, but like, what do you tell someone who's working 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, and they have kids and all this other stuff?
And oh, by the way, they're bringing me in here because they want you to keep working 12 hours a day, and they want you to keep doing this, and they want me to lower your stress. And in an hour, I'm going to have some magic trick that does that? I don't think so. Well, I could. It's like you need to find a new job, but the people who would be writing the check for that would not be happy with that advice. So that was just a man.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't do that one either. Like,
Nope.
no way. I'm like, the problem is you guys. It's like it's not them. The problem is you. So, oh man,
Free advice.
Oh god. Yeah, for real. All right. So, what do you have coming down the pipeline?
So, coming up this month, I have one more event. It's actually an evening program. A friend of mine is bringing me in to throw rubber chickens, and then we're actually going to eat turkey because it's the week of Thanksgiving. So that's going to be fun.
Okay.
I have a couple of virtual sessions next month in the Global International Business Analysis Conference, something like that, virtual. So I am actually done traveling for the year. I love this business because in parts of the year and normally the second quarter and the first half of the third quarter, first half, I travel a lot. And so next year I've already booked several keynotes, Orlando, a couple in Toronto, and I will probably be doing another European tour. I've done those the last 2 years. So
that's awesome.
I love, like I said, I love that travel. I am getting paid to take vacations with my family in Europe, speak a couple days, which I love, and then get to see parts of the world we've never seen before. It's just so much fun.
See, and what people don't realize too, you speak for an hour. That's it. You speak for an hour. Yeah, my sister wants to know if you spoke in Vegas in 2010.
2011.
2011.
Yeah, I was one of the finalists in the World Championship of Public Speaking in 2011. I was supposed to go back in 2015, and that's 1 week before I would have gone back to Las Vegas in 2015 was when I had the heart attack. So that was the pivot moment.
Yeah, she said she remembers attending a conference in rubber chickens.
I didn't do rubber chickens back then, Monique. I danced around with a chicken. So yeah, the rubber chicken started around 2015.
Oh, okay.
But Monique,
good stuff.
Monique, follow me on LinkedIn, and you will. I'm sure I'll be at a conference somewhere in your area, and I will give you like a special glow in the dark rubber chicken. It's a thing.
Yeah, Monique, you're in New York still, right? I know, like my family members are moving over the last few years, but I think she's in the New York area. Yeah. But when she responds, I'll put it up there.
Yeah. Y'all follow me on LinkedIn and come to one of my events and say Robert sent me, and I'll give you one of my Fry Your Chickens books.
Awesome, that's good stuff. So, about the book, how did the book come about?
So the book was 7 different ways to get the chickens inside your head to shut the cluck up. And again, Robert, we talked about this earlier on. It's like, if you wait for it to be perfect, you're never going to write the book. And I had collected material, but I wanted to wait for it to be perfect. And what I did was I said, December of last year, I said, March 31st of 2025, this book will be done. All right. That's clarity. That is a clear goal. Yeah. So, and then here's the best part. I put it on social media. Hey, March 31st of 2025, this book will be done. So now I've got, okay, you have written a contract with everybody out there on social media. And you know what happened? March 31st, it was done. And it's 7 ways to get the chickens to shut the cluck up. I love the graphic on the cover. I think you probably got that. And it was just, I wish I would have thought of that earlier, to just force myself to do it and force myself to write the chapters. And, there were a lot of fits and starts, and until I said, this is it, it's going to be done. And then it got done.
Yeah, it took me 3 years to write mine. 3 years. I started it. I got like the first four chapters. and then it just fell off a cliff. Then like I do a couple, and then finally I was like, look, you got to get this done. Like especially trying to get better speaking gigs, paid speaking gigs. Like it just helps to have that title of author.
Absolutely.
You know? So it's like got to get it done.
Yeah.
It's like in the beginning, I felt like a hypocrite because I don't really read books. Like I prefer to do audio, but I'm like, but that's selfish. I'm thinking about me and like think about the people that read books, right? That need this information.
Exactly. And with my book, it was like all these chickens inside of me are, oh, it's got to be perfect. You got to do this, you got to do that. And it's like, are you not listening to your own keynotes, Phil, when you tell people to take the steps and do it? I mean, what is wrong with you? Not what is wrong with you, but it's like, get it done. Fry the chickens and get the darn book out there. And I did.
So with the chickens, is it because they always squawk?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So
just wanted to make sure.
I kind of fell into it, right? So the speech that got me to the finals, I titled it, and so they introduced me, Phil Barth, with the speech, and everybody in the audience is, what the heck is he talking about, right? And so I get up there and I say, look, you've got big, bold, brilliant ideas, like a book. I didn't say that, but you've got big, bold, brilliant ideas, but something's holding you back, something inside. It's a flock of chickens. Today, I want you to learn how to take those chickens out, put them in a pan, and fry them. 30 seconds in, the audience is just busting a gut laughing because we had this little inside joke with the title. Boom, now we've done that. And then I start telling the story about, being afraid to ask my wife out, but in the end, married, 3 kids, 3 dogs, etc.
Yeah. My sister says writing books helps. I believe she just published one too.
Oh, awesome.
So she's gonna be the 3rd author in the family now. Because my other sister wrote one, I wrote one, and now she has as well.
I love it.
So that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, God, we could talk all day about this topic. Like I started one before about, would you let somebody disrespect you to your face? And they're like, no. Like, would you let somebody talk down to you? Like, would you just win around the room? They're like, why do you do it to yourselves?
Yes. Right?
Why do you do it to yourselves? Like when people always ask me about the title of the book and the podcast, they're like, why do you go around telling people to shut up? I said, no, that's not what it's about. Like people need to shut up those voices inside. So like the same exact message as you. Just different avenues, but right. the point is the same. The point is the same. Like you want to do something, go. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like just get it done. This background right here is probably my 7th background. Like it's okay to make changes, right? It's Absolutely. Okay. There's nothing wrong with it. My first episode did not flow like 371 today. The first couple. Had no direction, didn't really know. I didn't really have a central theme. I didn't have any of that stuff. But I was like, if you're gonna do this, you need to just do this. And like that's what I always want the people who watch this show. That's what I want their takeaway to be. Just get going. So I'm gonna give you a final word here, and you can tie in whatever you want to tie in. If there's something that you didn't get in, it's like I don't have a hard out. So if you want to take 5 solid minutes and say whatever, go right ahead.
No, I mean I can't. We're saying the same message in taking 2 different routes to get there. But yeah, get out of your own head. There's a reason why Nike's slogan isn't just sit on your butt and plan all day. It's just do it. Take the action. Action makes you feel so much better. Taking a single step in a direction, even knowing what the next exact step is and getting that clarity that we were talking about, that's going to lower your stress. And then you start doing things that lowers your stress. The more you, I think it's Newton's physics, right? A body in motion tends to stay in motion. So get moving.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, my sister just added another one here too. Said, once you start, you grow and make changes. Absolutely. Yep. It's like I said when I was guesting the other day, I said, what the hell did I say? I lost it. I know I read my sister's quote and then I lost it. What did she ask me? Can't end the show on a cliffhanger.
Week 4.
All right, never mind then. So we'll just end on with what you just shared. So, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. So about that, how you just said the 2 different avenues, right? So I do panels, and we'll have anywhere up to 7 of us. Because like I usually invite 6, and sometimes all 6 actually come. So there'll be 7 of us. But we take one topic, like this one was embracing vulnerability, and we all roundtable that one topic. Just cool. so people understand there's not only one way. You know, like some people will love my style, some people may hate my style, like some people may not want you screaming and throwing chickens around, right? It's like, but there's so many events out there. It's like you don't have to sell your soul to get a gig, right? You know, it's like you want to get in front of that right audience, you know,
right?
You want to add anything to that?
No, you said it really well. Get in front of that audience and rock and roll.
Do your thing. All right, well, let people know where they can get in touch with you.
philbarth.com, www.philbarth.com. That has the links to my socials. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. But all the links are right there on the website. If you want to book a call to talk about, hey, I've got an event where we'd like to see if you're a fit, there's a link right there to book a call, and love to hear from you. If you want to just leave me an email, you can do it on there and say, hey, heard you on Shut Up and Grind podcast. Really liked it. Thanks so much. Anything, just philbarth.com takes you to wherever you need to connect with me. And I'd love to hear from everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to come out and share. This was a great show. We could probably talk for 2-3 more hours about this stuff.
We could.
All right. Just don't sign off yet, though. All right. Thanks. All right. So that was Phil. If you are just tuning in, make sure you go back and watch from the beginning. This was a great show. It was a fun show. It was a funny show. And a lot of great information sprinkled in there between the stories. So thank you for tuning in. As always, we are going to be moving to 4 days a week, because I actually paused booking. Like I haven't taken in a booking before yesterday for probably 3 solid months. And with just the 2 days a week, I'm booking into July of next year already. So there's like 60 people that I hadn't even responded to yet. So I added Monday and Wednesday. Okay, so we're going to be Monday through Thursday at 12 Eastern time. And those 2 are already booking into March now. So if you have any interest in getting on the show, telling your story, and you're not afraid to be raw and unscripted, hit me up on Podmatch. Go to podmatch.com, and I believe it's /Robert B. Foster, and apply to be on. All right, guys. Thank you.
You've been listening to Shut Up and Grind. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. Robert has over 20 years experience pouring his knowledge and expertise at many events in the service and fitness industry, as well as secondary schools and universities. He has a true passion for helping others break through the barriers that are holding them back. To book Robert B. Foster to speak or to reach out, go to robertbfoster.com. Till next time, shut up and grind.